All right, welcome to the final session in today's live event. And I get to be the one to talk about goal setting. We're reaching the end of 2016, and in a few days, we'll be looking forward to 2017. And it's this time of year where all of us set goals and think about what we want to do differently, and then we don't do any of them. My goal in this session is to give you a framework to help you set goals for your playing. Not just wishes for your playing, not desires for your playing, but to give you a plan, to give you a way that maybe, you know, if you say you want to do this, that you might be able to follow through with it. And I joke about setting goals or not setting goals, New Year's resolutions and stuff, because I too struggle with that same thing. You know, next year I'm not going to do, or next year I am going to do. And the main reason that we don't follow through with things, I think, is that there isn't really a sustainable plan for achieving these goals. We might have a plan in place, but we haven't done things that hold us accountable to executing that plan. So we're going to be talking about goal setting. We're going to be talking about accountability. We're going to be talking about making a plan that is realistic based on where you're at as a guitar player. And this sort of conversation isn't as fun as, you know, learning a new lick or some sort of short-term satisfaction on the guitar, but I think it's extremely necessary, especially this time of year, to talk about. So the first thing I want to address when it comes to setting goals is that you have to have a reason that you are playing. So while you're listening to me yap along here, what is the reason that you picked up the guitar? Why, in the first place, did you want to play the guitar? Think about that for a second. Did you want to play in a bedroom and not share your music with anybody? Probably not. Did you have extra time? Maybe you played years ago and you thought it was cool, and now you have time and you're playing again. Why are you playing right now? Why did you pick up the guitar again? Why did you pick up the guitar in the first place? What was your reasoning for doing that? You know, for me, initially, it was that I heard a really great guitar solo. I'd heard many guitar solos before this, but I was at the right age and the right song came along. For me, it was Collective Soul's Shine. And that guitar solo that was in that song made me say, I really want to learn how to play the electric guitar. And then I stuck with it because I had an outlet to play. For me, early on, it was playing at church. And that really kept me going. And then it became, I played because I teach. And then it became, I played because I work on recording projects. There was always a reason for me to keep playing. And if you don't have a reason, if you don't have an initial reason, and you don't give yourself reasons, any goal that you set is not going to be met. Because there's something about having a reason to play that helps you define your goals, helps you keep your goals realistic, and then also holds you accountable to those goals. If you are plugged into some coffee shop and you have a gig once a month, if you're committed to that, you have a reason to play. And so you're practicing the goals that you set within your playing to maintain that commitment are going to help keep you playing and help you accomplish your goals. But you have to have a reason. The reason can be different for anybody, but you have to have one. So take a second and figure out, first, why did you pick up the guitar in the first place? And second, why do you continue to play? What is driving you to continue to play? Once you have that, hold on to it. And as we go through the rest of this, you may come to some revelations. Okay. So you've defined your reason. We need to talk about the differences between setting a goal and what I'm going to call outcomes. A goal is something that you don't yet do, are not yet able to do, have not yet done, that you are intentionally aiming for. Then there's the sort of the other side of this, which is an outcome, which is something that you achieved as a result of you going through the process of meeting this goal. So let me give you a few examples, a few tangible examples. My goal would be to play Led Zeppelin's Heartbreaker solo in front of a group of people at a bar and play it perfectly. That's a goal. What sort of outcomes might come out of achieving that goal? Well, you might be better at hammer-ons and pull-offs. You might be better at, your ear might be greatly changed and trained by having to learn that note for note. You might have gotten an alternate picking workout. So the outcome of learning this was you improved your ear and you improved your technique. It would be unwise of us, as we're setting goals, as we're looking to 2017 and we're trying to set goals, it would be unwise of us to choose something that may potentially be an outcome and put that as our goal. For example, I want to be, in 2017, I want to get better at alternate picking and ear training. That may sound like a cool goal, but those two things are not very directly tied to why you picked up the guitar in the first place. You didn't pick up the guitar in the first place to get good at moving your hand fast and playing the guitar. That's not the overarching reason of why you picked up the guitar. You picked up the guitar to play and make music and be creative, most likely. So we want to think about when we're setting goals, we want to define and refine in such a way that we know what a good goal to set is and what these sort of byproducts of achieving our goals might be. If you have goals that are centered around using your guitar for a specific thing, like we've talked about so far, a lot of these other things are going to fall into place. You will get better at technique. You will get better at ear training. You will get better in playing and singing together. You'll get better at all these things if you have your reasons and your true goals defined. Now I'm going to stop here. Are there any pertinent, enlightening comments or questions based on what we've talked about so far? Because this is a little, some of it may seem obvious, but it also is kind of weird when you start thinking about this.
Well, I think this is a good one that might tie in here. How do you know if you set too high of a goal?
Excellent question.
How long should it take?
Excellent question.
From Chris.
And we're going to get to this a little bit later too, but I think it's good to start here. There are lots of different tiers in terms of your goals. There's your short-term goals and there's your long-term goals. And it's very important that you come to terms with yourself as a player. Where are you at right now in terms of skill level and experience? And what is your big goal? You know, you may have a huge goal. You may want to make a living as a musician, as a guitar player. That's sort of the biggest goal you could have, and that's sort of general. But that's a fine goal to have. But what are little more attainable goals that, as you come to terms with where you are as a player, you can set for yourself? To me, those littler goals should be achievable within 1 month's time. 1 month. That may sound, that's really short, but think about it. Even if you're a beginner guitar player and you have this goal, you could create a goal of, I want to learn a Tom Petty song and perform it for my kids. There's a goal. Right away, you've done something that is going to create a series of byproducts, a series of outcomes. You're going to learn some new chords. You might get better at your strumming. You've automatically built accountability into this goal because, maybe even go tell your kids, hey, on February 1st, I'm going to play you this song. We're going to sit down and get your phones out. You're going to film me doing this, and we're going to post it on YouTube. If you give yourself these goals that you know are attainable, but that might stretch you a little bit, that you think you could get down in about a month, then each one of these things that you set they're going to just as a natural flow become more challenging, more advanced. They're going to encompass more things. So that's what I would say. Come to terms with where you're at as a player, what your skill level is, and choose something. Again, don't choose, I want to get better at bending. If you really do want to get better at bending, make it a different goal. Say, I want to learn a particular solo that has a particular bend phrase that I like, and learn that solo. You'll get better at bending, and you will learn something that is artistically useful.
And this one is from Lori. And the question is, should there be both short-term and long-term goals when thinking about this?
Yeah, you absolutely want to keep both in mind. It's kind of like planning a road trip. Most of us don't have cars that can drive 1,000 miles without stopping at a gas station, or you won't be able to, drive 36 hours straight or whatever. So we plan for stops. We plan for things that are going to give us progress, but that ultimately help us reach our final destination. And there's a constant self-reevaluation and introspection that needs to happen. If you are a beginner and you love guitar and you have this desire to be a professional guitar player someday, then the goals that you set in the interim should work towards that. Maybe even where you live would work towards that. Most of us probably don't have this overarching goal of being a professional guitar player someday. Maybe you just want to play in a band that plays once a week and you play classic rock cover tunes. If that's your ultimate goal, and that's a great goal, that's a fantastic goal, then your little goals that you know are achievable within a month's time should reflect that. In other words, you want to play in a classic rock cover band? You don't need to worry about sight reading. Don't do it at all. You want to play in a classic rock cover band on the weekends? Don't worry about two-hand tapping. Don't spend time with it. You want to play in a classic rock band learn classic rock songs. This setting mini goals with your overarching goal in mind helps you hone in on what you need to practice. You wouldn't believe how many questions we get. What should I practice? What should I do? Well, I don't know. I'm not you. We're not you. We don't know what you should practice. You need to tell yourself what to practice based on what your goals are. Once you define your overarching goal and you start getting the habit of setting these miniature goals, this question of what to practice will completely go away because you'll start to understand what you need to do to get to your goal. And it gets easier with every single month.
This one's from Tim. And Tim asks, musical goals are so subjective. Don't you need an observer to help gauge progress or achievement?
You do. I would say observer is a good word. Accountability is an even better word, maybe. And accountability, and we touched on this a little bit earlier, in every goal that you set, yes, it's subjective, but remember, you have an overarching goal and you're setting miniature goals. What you need is people around you that you can be accountable to make sure that you're on this path that you've determined for yourself, right? Nobody else can create this path but you. You need to create the path. Once you've created this path, you intentionally put in accountability stops. I used one earlier. I'm going to learn a Tom Petty song, and I'm going to perform it for my kids in my living room while they film me, and then they're going to put it on YouTube. Well, you built in accountability. Earlier I said it was February 5th or February 1st. So you know that you have between now and February 1st to get your act together on this song. That means that you're going to be practicing intentionally on things that are going to lead you to learn this song. You're going to practice the song. If you're having trouble with a chord, you're going to practice that chord. If you're having trouble with the strum pattern, you're going to practice the strum pattern. If there's a little hammer on little ditty in there, you're going to want to figure that out, and you're going to want to practice that. All these sorts of things are going to fall into line. But you've put your back up against the wall a little bit in saying that, well, I better have this ready by February 1st because I told these people I was going to do it. And that's a small example. But if you're going to be successful as a guitar player, you need to put those things into your plan all the time. All the time. Make them up. Call people and say, hey, drummer friend, at the end of the month, we're going to record this song I wrote. And just make a commitment to do it. And don't be the kind of person that backs out of those commitments. And you're going to be amazed when you put these accountability steps or stops into your plans. You don't want to have to always tell people that you're going to fail. If you vocalize them, if you get them out, if you make other people hold you accountable to do them, then you have a much greater likelihood of succeeding. So yeah, everything here is completely subjective, but at the same time, it's your journey. You have a certain area that you have a certain path that you want to take. Bring people along in it, and you'll be much more guaranteed to follow that path that you want to follow.
Okay. This one's from Denny Wilson. When you live in an area with very few live bands or opportunities to perform, how do you find that performance or chance to play out to help motivate growth?
In today's day and age, you don't need to leave your bedroom to perform. Look at YouTube. It's full of so many guitar players that are performing. Start a YouTube channel. Start a Vimeo channel. Perform on Facebook. Set a goal to do that. That could be your performance outlet, as long as you've got a halfway decent internet connection. And you can build an accountability there too, because as you start posting videos, as you get subscribers, those people are hopefully they're subscribed, they're looking forward to your videos. You want to be regular about putting those videos up so that you fulfill this expectation to your subscribers that you're going to be doing more. And it's also going to inspire a level of excellence in the path that you want to take as a guitar player. Therefore, you're going to want to practice more. The internet can be incredibly motivating. It has been for me. It's what I base my entire livelihood on. The other thing that you can do, and this has worked for me as well, teaching is an incredible accountability partner. If I had, when I was starting out, I had a handful of students, even when I was sort of a beginner guitar player, and I learned a ton because I'd get questions from these guys and I'd be like, I don't know, I have to go figure it out, and I'll teach it to you next week. Please don't leave me and go to another teacher. I'll figure it out. And so I was accountable to learn some of these things. I had goals set up based on the guitar players I was teaching. So teach and perform online. Both of those are fantastic if you don't have really the means to get out and live music is dead in your town or whatever. Good question, though.
Joe asks, how can you keep with the goal when you aren't feeling motivated to play that day?
Well, let me just back up a little here. Does your goal include accountability? Is your goal realistic for you to achieve? What needs to happen in order for you to accomplish that goal? If you are going to play for someone on February 1st, if you're going to play for a crowd of people on February 1st, if you don't feel like playing, it's like anything, right? You've got a deadline at work, something's due at the end of the month, and you don't feel like doing something that day. Well, do you need to do something that day in order to accomplish your goal? If you do, you better just suck it up and do it. If you don't, then maybe you're strategically planning out, I don't really need to play on Sundays. I'll take that day off. I've worked really hard learning this group of songs to play with my band, and now I don't need to play on Sundays. Maybe that's fine. Build in time that you don't need to do it, right? Because this is a hobby. This is supposed to be fun. At the same time, motivation comes from being excited about the goals you've set. I'll use my 4-year-old son as an example on this. My 4-year-old son has taken to the drums in a pretty amazing way that I never would have thought that I would have a 4-year-old son that would do. And this guy, even at 4 years old, he has this sort of second nature desire to play the drums, to learn a beat, to play along with the song. You know, he'll hear a song in the car and Daddy, I can play that beat. I want to play that beat when we get home. And if the goals that you're setting don't interest you enough to grasp onto them and want to do it, change your goals or give up. If you're not feeling motivated, there's something wrong, right? You shouldn't ever have to ask the question, why am I not motivated? Make yourself excited. Do what excites you, and you will be motivated, right? That's sort of the way my son is. He doesn't think about, I don't want to play the drums today. I don't want to do that. He's excited about doing something with his drums, and so he plays. There's not even this motivational barrier at all. It's just, I got to do it. I got to figure that out. And I think that the guitar, anything is the same way, right? Like if one guy I was listening to speak one time said the following, I used to really, really like sleep until I met my girlfriend who became my wife. And then I could care less about sleep because I wanted to spend time with her. And I think that there's an element with that in playing guitar as well. Not that you have to be totally extreme and that has to be all you want to do, but there's if your goals and your interest level and your expectations as to where you are as a player are all aligned, there is going to be this element of, I'd really rather play the guitar than watch this show. Or I'd really rather play guitar tonight and prepare for what I'm doing because I genuinely enjoy it. If you're not enjoying it, change your goals, change your trajectory. Make sure what you're doing is fun, and then motivation will happen automatically.
Okay, we can keep going on the questions, cool. Or if you got a couple points you want to touch on there.
Let's do this, and then we'll take some more questions. So that question was a really good segue into the next area of setting and completing your goals. And that is, we want to develop a musical meal plan. What is a musical meal plan? Well, you'd be amazed at how psyched you can get and how much unconscious practicing can be done by simply exposing yourself to music that supports your goals. So, if you want to, we'll go to the play in a classic rock band on the weekends thing. I think most of us would agree that if we wanted to do that and we're immersing ourselves in practicing classic rock songs, that we're going to be listening to classic rock songs. Like that's the most prominent thing that we're probably going to be digging into. But what's really interesting is a lot of times we don't listen with intention. We might be listening to the Beatles because we've always listened to the Beatles, but we want to start listening to things differently. We want to start listening to things in such a way where, I played something sort of like that Day Tripper riff, and now that I sort of know how to play the blues scale, that riff makes a lot more sense to me. I'm going to learn that whole thing, and then I'm going to relate that to the Paperback Writer riff, and start putting things together. So your musical meal plan starts bringing together recreational listening to music and intentional dissecting of music. Fill your Spotify or your iPod or your phone or your record collection with stuff that excites your guitar playing, and then make your guitar playing make you want to go find more music that is this circle, right? If this isn't happening, if you're not constantly being inspired by other guitar sounds, what happens? Well, it takes some of the fun out of it, and you can lose motivation because you're not setting these things out in front of you that are, hey, I have this goal. This music that I'm listening to, that I'm immersing myself in, is in line with my goal and my goals, my miniature goals. I get excited when I hear this music. I get excited to imitate. I get excited to borrow things from that recording. It all feeds into itself. So as we're talking through this stuff, I encourage you to develop your musical meal plan. What are some artists, what are some records, whatever, that you can latch onto and listen to in a new way, critically listen to and relate to where you're at on the guitar. It's not going to be everything, but it's going to be some things. And it's going to be really exciting to start pulling out, oh yeah, I can do that. I can play that. I'm going to figure that out. That goes right along with what I was wanting to do anyway. Man, the way that guy, that chord progression, it's cool. And I've been writing songs of my own. I really like how he did that. I'm going to incorporate that into a song. It's this steady diet where you're not just listening, you don't just have it on while you're driving or while you're cleaning your house or whatever. You have it on and you got your headphones on and you're not doing anything else and you're just listening to music. So we can take a couple more questions now.
Let's do 2 questions and then the giveaway.
Sounds good.
All right, this next one's from Christian Lucas. Do you work on one short-term goal at a time, or do you divide your practice time between a few goals?
That is a fantastic question, Christian. In this stage, if this idea and this mindset is new to you, you should have your overarching goal, your bigger goal, your couple years goal or whatever, and then you should have your small goal. You should do one at a time and make them sequential. Only focus on one because this is going to target your practicing. I find that when people set too many goals at once, they don't know what to practice anymore. Because, well, I want to write a song, I want to record an album of original material, I want to play covers in a band, I want to teach guitar lessons for side money, and I want to build a guitar. What you've done there, with each one of those goals, you've defocused, right? You don't possibly have time to do all that stuff, and you can easily get overwhelmed, which can lead to a lack of motivation because you're just paralyzed. So if you come to terms with your playing, and you set these little goals that support your overarching goal, but you do them sequentially, you're going to have very targeted practice sessions, right? There's only so many things you can do or should do to meet that 1 month goal. If your goal is to play a Tom Petty song for your kids at the beginning of February and it's the beginning of January, you're in that portion of time, you're laser focused on maybe root position chords and strumming and playing and singing together. That's all you're focused on because that's what it requires of you to play that song. You're not focusing on reading real book charts. You're not focusing on learning the pentatonic scale up and down the neck. You could set another, if your goal is to, after that, maybe you want to learn and perform the guitar riff from a Rage Against the Machine song. Well, you're going to have to get more familiar with playing pentatonic patterns on your bass strings. You're going to have to know that stuff. And you're going to have to sort of stumble upon that as you learn it. So one goal at a time is absolutely what I would recommend.
All right. Next one is from Stanley. And Stanley asked, do you suggest practicing with someone if possible? And should you be on the same level together?
Well, I would say that I absolutely would recommend that you play with people and jam with people. That is so beneficial. You learn so much because every player is going to be a little bit different. I would say that the level is not as important as your goals Do you have similar goals? If you do have similar goals, then you can partner together and help each other achieve those goals. I think it's great to play with people that are better than you because you can learn from them, especially, again, if your goals are aligned. I also think it's great to play with people that aren't as good as you that have similar goals because you can teach them, and that helps you re-examine your playing. But I think it is absolutely important to play with people, and it is absolutely important to make sure that your goals are aligned, that you're playing with people that are similar in how they think.
Okay, you guys know what time it is?
It is.
It's strat time. I guess I'll just do this again.
Now wait a minute. Do we want to do this? I've got one more point.
I thought you were done.
No, we've got one more point, and then we could do the giveaway, or...
Okay, make it fast, though.
All right, I'll make it fast. Because this one more point...
Or you can make it really slow and kind of give it the suspense build up.
No, this is actually pretty... But it's an important distinction. We want to value the time that we have to play, to practice, to learn, and to execute and accomplish our goals, right? So we need to understand the key difference between learning and practicing. Learning is taking in information. Practicing is the working out and applying of that new information. It is not learning to watch a YouTube video. Wait, I said that wrong. It is not practicing to watch a YouTube video. You might be learning by watching a YouTube video. You're not practicing by watching the video. That may seem obvious, but it certainly isn't for a lot of people that I work with, especially in this day and age of internet and YouTube. And we get in this mindset of, well, I want to learn something. And you go out and you hunt for videos for an hour and a half, you finally find one and watch it, and then you're too burnt out to play. So I recommend separating your learning time from your practicing time. Create environments where you've gotten the information, you've taken in the information, you've maybe organized the information. Maybe you've taken notes based on a YouTube video. Maybe you're on JamPlay.com and you've got printable tab and stuff like that. You've gotten a pile and you've taken this stuff in, and then your practice session should be going through this stuff, not watching the videos, going through it, woodshedding, putting it into your hands. So that's really the last point I wanted to make, and it's a little bit truncated because we want to give away a guitar. Oh, yeah. But set goals for yourself. Come to terms with why you picked up the guitar in the first place. Set an overarching goal for yourself. Set little goals to take about a month's time so that you can start working towards your overarching goals as a player. This will keep you motivated if you are accountable in those goals. You can see how this all fits together. Critically listen to music and take in music from artists, new artists, old artists, whatever, that feed your overarching goal and your little goals. And value your own time by drawing a distinction between learning and practicing. If you adopt these mentalities and this mindset this year, you're going to find that your motivation, that your productivity as a practicing and learning guitar player is going to go through the roof. So I encourage you to do this. I hope you have a lot of fun. I hope to hear about some of your goals on JamPlay. Now, here is the guitar we are giving away.
What is it, a deluxe?
It is an HSS Fender Stratocaster with, and this is crazy because this is a made in Mexico Strat, and they put the noiseless, these used to only be available on American-made Strats. So this has some of the electronics. It's even got the tone switching, out of phase button and a 5-way switch. And this is for the price point that it's at and for the, the clout that it has. Fender has really stepped it up when it comes to putting higher end stuff in these guitars. So, the difference between this guitar and this guitar is a lot less than it used to be. I'll just say that.
All right. I'm assuming everyone here knows the rules by now. Just in case you don't, we've collected names during the whole event here. and I've picked the winners randomly based on people who contributed to the event. You will have 2 minutes, pardon me, from the time that I post your name in the chat to respond, since part of the rules are you do need to actually be here. If you are not here for 2 minutes, we will move on to the runner-up. So I'm going to give people just 40 seconds to so everyone gets the video, and then I am going to post this. So get ready. Chris, who do you think's going to win? Do you have any guesses?
His first name will be Rob.
Rob, wow. Well, you may or may not be right.
Yeah, I don't know. Just said that it came to me.
Oh, and just so everyone knows, if you are from not the United States, Canada, or Mexico, we will give you a $100 gift card as a runner-up prize. All right, everyone, I'm going to post this both in Facebook and live stream chat. The winner, assuming they're here, is Jim Rambo, who's has about the coolest name in the entire world.
I would agree with that.
Jim Rambo. Jim Rambo, please be here, my friend. I mean, I'm hoping you're here. I guess other people are probably hoping you aren't, so I won't get in the middle of it. Jim Rambo, you've won yourself a Strat if you're here. Yeah, here from New Jersey.
Yay!
Wow. Yes. What a great showing.
This is a nice looking guitar.
I'm very happy that Jim Rambo won. Well, Chris, you can close out the night however you wish.
Well, congratulations, Jim. I'm excited for you to have another year playing guitar. I hope that JamPlay is able to be a part of that, because we love making lessons. We love seeing people learn. We love hearing about it. So practice well, and hopefully we'll see you on JamPlay.com. Happy New Year.
Yeah, it was actually.